You know, being a police officer is more than putting handcuffs on people and taking them to jail. Dealing with dangerous animals is increasingly becoming part of the job, something officers have to prepare for.
44-1068.
Summertime in Anne Arundel County.
We have a couple of calls for 2 pit bulls at large.
For the 10 officers in the Animal Control Division, covering the entire county 24 hours a day, 7 days a week can be challenging.
People are saying the animals are running into their yards, and some people are frightened.
2013 brought with it an average of about 30 calls a day. On hand to answer those calls during the week are 4 officers, 1 per district. For Officer Christina Williford, who's been on the job for 3 years, it's not only the work that can take a toll.
I haven't confined kittens, possible 2 broken legs.
But also the sheer amount of territory they have to cover.
On the weekends, we only have 2 officers, and each officer covers 2 districts, and that's the whole Anne Arundel County.
That can make for some less than ideal wait times and frustrated people on the other end of the phone, especially during the busiest summer months.
Sometimes they're understanding and they're okay with it, but other times they're highly upset. But we do what we can and get it taken care of, and then they're happy with us.
They've always gotten relief from the Anne Arundel County Police Department, which has at least 60 to 80 patrol officers in the field to animal controls too.
Law enforcement forever has been interacting with animals.
But in the past few months, some new tools on the police side have added to their ability to answer animal control calls.
The officer's been trained to just take this far end of this tool and just yank it.
Chief Kevin Davis says about 40 patrol sergeants carry these catch poles with them.
And one of the things we task them with is to listen to the radio for those calls for service where a potentially dangerous animal is involved. Okay. And once they hear that, the patrol sergeant dispatches himself or herself to the scene with this tool.
Every patrol officer will also soon have these ultrasonic devices.
It's got a button you push. Humans can't even hear it. It's ultrasonic, so it's almost like putting a blast horn up to a dog. You know, like, hey, okay, I hear you. I see what you got now. So it just gets their attention. And again, in many cases, it's not going to stop every dog, but in many cases, just kind of gets them to back down a little bit and say, okay, I'm not sure what that is you got there, but I might want to look to you and see what else you got.
Michael Stringfellow is with Invisible Fence. He donated the first 100 of these devices to the police department and says 350 more are on the way. It was a February incident in Pasadena that caught Stringfellow's attention and pushed him to reach out. A patrol officer doing a neighborhood canvass was startled by a family's dog and ended up shooting and killing it. While that officer wasn't prepared for an encounter with an animal, it was a wake-up call for Chief Davis, who was tired of sending his officers into those scenarios unprepared.
While deadly force remains an option, it's an option now that is further down the road here in Anne Arundel County, and there are some steps in between that our officers now know they have the tools and the training to take before we consider deadly force.
It didn't stop with the catch poles and ultrasonic devices. Officers also got training from the American Humane Association.
I know we're not talking murders, rapes, robberies, and burglaries, but how law enforcement interacts with families' pets is really important, not just in Anne Arundel County, but in society. The community thinks that the county has an animal control section, and we certainly do, but they're not going to be able to get there first.
It's help in the field Officer Williford is happy to have.
Hello. Have you seen 2 stray dogs running around?
Not that we want to turn our police officers into animal control officers, but we've got to be able, and we are now able to do better with how we respond to incidents involving potentially dangerous animals.
That's interesting. If you think you could use one of these ultrasonic devices, they're available for private purchase. Well, it isn't just aggressive pets. Animal control also has to deal with rabid animals. And in Anne Arundel County, rabies cases have been on the rise for 2 years straight now. Experts say there are natural peaks and dips in the number, but the increase could also be attributed to the oral rabies vaccination program that was cut a few years ago.
When we got to 2011, many years, 7 or 8 years after we had done the whole county, we only had 4 positive animals. So we went from 97 down to 4. And then we lost the funding in 2011.
Well, since losing the federal funding for that program, the numbers increased, with 30 rabid animals caught in the county last year. But the county decided to fund the vaccination program itself. It works by distributing bait with the vaccine in it in areas that target raccoons and other wild animals. The county council approved the money for the program, and the vaccinations are set to come back coming up in September.